Hello students, in the last videos so far we have discussed about the motion of a body and without going in detail about the cause of the motion. So that's why that last topic is about your kinematics. Next, in this video we will go for the other branch of physics, that is your dynamics, and in this chapter the chapter name is so in dynamics the base or the fundamental in dynamics is the chapter itself named as laws of motion. So here in this chapter we will go in detail about the cause of motion along with the motion of the body. When the body is in motion, what are the parameters associated with the motion of the body, and also the cause of the motion. And what is the cause of this motion? The cause of the motion is your, we can say, a quantity that the cause of motion is very important. For any cause of the motion is called the force. And now there is a question comes in our mind that what is this actually force? What this concept of this force? The force, as I already told, it is the cause of motion, or we can say a push or pull on a body. A push or pull on a body, a push or pull on a body. So if there is a body, and on this body, if we push the body or if we pull the body, then which causes the motion of the body, which causes the motion of the body, or opposes the motion of the body. So that is the force. It is the push or pull on the body, so that it causes the motion of the body or opposes the motion of the body. Means it is the combination of two things. Is that here, if a body is at rest, means it is not in motion. So if it is not in motion, then by this factor, that is your force, by applying a force, the motion of the body comes. And if a body is already in motion, then to change its motion, that is called as to oppose its motion or to some changes in its motion, we apply the same quantity, physical quantity, that is our force. So that's why it is written that the cause which causes the motion of the body, or we can say that opposes the motion of the body, that is known as your force. Now the force can be classified, or we can say not classification, we can say that the force may be of different forms. The force is of different forms, and in due course of time we will come across with the different types of force. But the main thing what is required here, we will discuss that, is the force can be of a non-contact force, or a contact force. The force, we can say that broadly, you can say the force can be a non-contact force or a contact force. So what is this non-contact and contact force? So it is a push or pull on the body, and that push or pull can be done by in physically contact with the body or without any physical contact between the body. So if this is a body and if I apply a force like this, so it is a contact. I contact this body physically, so I applied the force. So the motion causes. The cause is the motion, right? So the motion starts on the body. So this is a contact force. So sometimes we are applying the forces which are non-contact. So the non-contact forces are like your gravitational force. There are like your gravitational force. What is this gravitational force? So gravitational force is the force between two massive bodies. Force between two massive bodies separated by some distance. Separated by some distance. They are not in contact, means they are separated by a distance, means we have two massive bodies, suppose one is m1, the other one is m2, separated by certain distance r. So if they are separated by a certain distance, so there is no contact between these two. But according to Newton, we will discuss that chapter is there. According to Newton, that is also known as Newton's law of gravitation. So according to Newton, there is a force exists between the two bodies, but they are not in contact, and that force is your gravitational force. Means each body attracts to each other in this universe. If there are two massive bodies, massive means the body having mass. So if there are two massive bodies are there in this universe, wherever they are, there is a force of attraction between them. That is according to Newton's law of gravitation, and that force is the gravitational force, right? So this attractive force is the gravitational force, and this gravitational force is a non-contact force. It is a non-contact force. Similarly, other one is like your electrostatic force, magnetic force, electrostatic force, electrostatic force. That we will read about this force in our second year. Magnetic force. So as you know, magnetic force, electrostatic force. Electrostatic force means the force between two charged particles separated by distance. Separated by some distance. There is no physical contact between the two charges, but there is a force force of attraction or repulsion comes, because electrostatic force arises between two charges. One is suppose plus q charge, another is another minus q charge. So if there are two charges separated by some distance r, then there is a force x between them. There is an interaction x between them, and that interaction is the electrostatic force. This may be attractive or repulsive, but gravitational force is always attractive. Why? Because charge can be positive or negative, but mass always positive, right? Mass is always positive. Mass cannot be negative. It is not, mass is not of dual, or the mass is not of plus or minus. It is always plus. So that's why it is attractive. But electrostatic force is attractive or repulsive, as already you know that two unlike charges, unlike means one is positive, the other is negative, then there will be a force of attraction between them. Means they will attract each other. They will attract, this one will attract this thing, they will attract each other, right? And if they are plus q and plus q, then the force is repulsive. So one will repel to other, the other one will repel to this one. So there is a repulsive force. So that is your electrostatic force. Similarly, magnetic force, the pole between the poles, the force between the poles, means, as the common example is that when you take a magnet, and if you take some magnetic material like your iron, and with some certain distance apart, there will be a force of attraction. The iron pieces will be attracted towards the magnet or magnetic pole. Magnet means that is a pole. So that is a non-contact force. There is no contact between these two bodies. So there is a force exists. So these are non-contact force. But what comes under contact force? Most of the forces are of contact forces in our day-to-day life. But one you can say that the tension is a contact force. Normal reaction is a contact force. Normal reaction is a contact force, right? And the others like your the others are like your frictional force is a contact force, frictional force is a contact force. So these are the contact force. So as now the question is, what is this tension? Tension arises in string, rod, like chain, right? There we will find this tension. Means what? Suppose a body, where this tension, let us get a clear idea about this tension. So suppose there is a string, and to the string there is a mass attached to the string. So now the string, one end of the string is fixed to a rigid support. So this is a rigid support, one end is fixed, to the other end a mass is attached. Because of this mass, as you know, the earth attracts everybody towards its center. That is also a non-contact force. So by that force, this mass is also attracted towards earth. So means the mass is attracted towards the earth means, what is that? Mg. That is your weight of the body. With that weight, the body is attracted towards earth. Okay. With the weight, the body is attracted towards earth. So if the body is attracted towards the earth, then the body is not coming to or towards the earth, or it is not fall to the surface of earth. So what happens? Because of this string, in this string a force acts opposite to this one, and that force is the tension in the string or rope or in a chain, that string comes. Okay. So that is about your tension. That is a one type of force, and the tension is always from the point object, or from this object, or away from this object, right? Towards which the string is tied, away from this object the tension is always x. Similarly, the other one is a contact force, is your normal reaction. So what is this normal reaction? Now normal reaction is something like your, when you know about the normal reaction, suppose there is a body rest on the table or any object. Suppose there is any object is there and a body is rest on this one. So as the body rests on this part, its weight mg obviously downward, and to counter that there is an opposite force, that is called as your normal reaction, R, acts on this body. So what this normal reaction? Now as you know, here the body push the ground with a force. So that force is your mg. So if this body push the ground with a force mg, and we will read further, the force is always x in pairs. Always the force is in pairs. You will never find a isolated force. So the force is in pairs means, in Newton's third law we will discuss that to every force there is an equal and opposite reaction, or to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. On that concept we can say, if mg is acting like this vertically downward, then on this body there is an opposite to this weight mg, the force acts by the table or where the body is rest, by this body to the object which is rest on the surface. Means this one will apply a force, that force is the normal reaction, and it is always normal, means it is always perpendicular. It is always perpendicular to the surface. It is always perpendicular to the surface of the body. So in further discussion, when we will go for the other discussions, there we will know about detail about this normal reaction and tension. And this frictional force is also a contact force, means the frictional force arises when one body slide over the other body. So when there is a sliding, or when a body is rolling, or when a body is on the surface of other body, so if there is a contact between these two bodies, the frictional force comes into play, right? So these are the contact forces. So broadly we can say the force can be a contact force or a non-contact force. Some of the examples we have discussed from non-contact force and contact force. In addition to that, in due course of time when we go further, we will discuss about the one is called as the central force. Central force means what? The force which acts between the point from the center to center of two bodies. Means in this case, when I am discussing about the gravitational force, suppose this is a body of mass m1, this is another body of mass m2, they are separated by a distance r. So the force is always x along this line, the line joining from center to center of these two bodies O1 and O2. That is a central force, that is also called the central force. So the force can have different form. Similarly, we can discuss about we will discuss nuclear force. That is another type of force which is not electrostatic or which is not comes under electrostatic force or magnetic force. It is something different types of force, that is your nuclear force. So there are different forms of force we will discuss in due course of time. Okay. So this is the fundamental idea about the force that is required. Because why you need about this force? Because here in dynamics or the chapter is your laws of motion, the force is the factor which is the cause of motion, which is the cause of motion. So we should know about this force. So we can say that the force is that physical quantity. So broadly you can say that the force is that physical quantity which causes the motion in a body or opposes the motion of the body, right? So already clear what is the cause of the motion or opposes the motion means what? If a body at rest, because of this force the body is in motion, and if the body is in motion, it opposes its motion, means any change in motion is not allowed without this physical quantity, that is our force. Okay. So after knowing this idea or after getting this idea about the force, now we will go for the Newton's first law of motion. Because here we will think about the laws of motion, means after knowing that, first we will go for the Newton's laws of motion. There are Newton's laws of motion, that is also laws of motion. So here in Newton's laws of motion, there are three laws of motion. We will discuss one by one in different videos. The first we will discuss about the first law or the Newton's first law of motion. So the first law. What is the Newton's first law of motion? So what this first law of motion it states? The Newton's first law of motion it states that generally the laws, when you are writing the laws, we should write it states that, right? It is not defined, like you don't use the word like define or like that. So we will always say that it states that. So the first law states that every body continues in its state of rest or uniform motion. Every body continues in its state of rest or uniform motion unless compelled by any external force. Everybody continues in its state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line. You can add that, in a straight line, unless it is compelled by any external force. Means without a force, an external force, means without applying a force, it consists of three parameters. Here it is, you can say here it is written that without this force, if a body is in the state of rest, it will remain in that state of rest. Means if a book is lying on the table, so long as no external force is applied, the book will lie on this table. So that is called as the state of rest. Similarly, or in a uniform motion in a straight line. If a body is in a uniform motion in a straight line, means if a body is moving in a straight line like this, suppose a ball is moving on this straight line with an velocity u. So to change this velocity, we have to apply an external force. We have to apply an external force. And The other way is that if it is in the straight line, suppose I change the direction of motion of the body. So instead of taking on this straight line, suppose I change the direction like this. If the body goes like this, when it comes here, now this is the direction, now here it will move like this. So here the direction changes. Maybe the magnitude may be same, but the direction changes. So to change its direction also, we need force. So that's why I told that it has 3 points. If a body is at rest, then it will be in the rest position so long as we are not applying any force. Similarly, if a body is in motion in a straight line, it will remain in the straight line. It will remain in the straight line so long as we have not applied any external force, right? So that is the Newton's first law of motion. And what is the Newton's first law of motion? From this Newton's first law of motion, we can define the force. We can also define the force. What if you make it in reverse way? We will discuss in reverse way. Means the force is that agent or the parameter or the physical quantity which changes the state of rest or uniform motion of a body in a straight line, isn't it? If I change this one, the force is that agent, or you can say is that physical quantity which changes the state of rest or uniform motion of a body. Okay, so this is the Newton's first law of motion. Okay, now in this concept we can give an example like the body when rest means a book lying on the table will remain at rest according to Newton's law, or a ball rolling on the ground, okay, and without any external force, means without applying any kick to the ball, it will not change its direction or changes its motion or velocity. So that means no external force is required to move or to allow a body to move with a constant velocity. So if a body is in a constant velocity, then there is no external force is required. There is no external force is required. So it will remain in a motion. But sometimes in our day-to-day observations, we can say, suppose a body is rolling on this table, it comes to rest after some distance traveled because of other force is there, that is your frictional force. So frictional force also acts, that is an external agent or external force. Okay, student. So we got the idea about this Newton's first law of motion. So from this discussion, from this Newton's first law of motion, now there is a question comes in our mind that if a body to be at rest, be at rest, and in motion, be in motion, means what makes the body or what makes the body, or the body is ideal not to change its state of rest or uniform motion. What makes the body to do so? Means there is something or there is some factor there in the body which makes the body or bound the body to do what it is in the state. Means if it is at rest, it will be in rest, and if it is in a motion in a straight line, it will remain in motion in the straight line. That according to our Newton's first law, and that is our common examples in day-to-day life. We are observing these. Now, so what makes this one? There is an, that means there is an inherent property. That inherent property is called our inertia. So from this Newton's first law of motion, we can say there is an inherent property of the body. This is the inherent means a body means here it is a massive body. A body means we can say a massive body means it has a mass. So because of this mass there in the body, because without the mass we are not discussing about this Newton's law. So on that basis, inherent property means what? If the body is there and has a mass, then it has this property. That property is your inertia. That property is your inertia. So from the tendency, so what is this inertia? We can define or we can state the inertia as the tendency of a body to resist or to oppose, any change of its state of motion or state of rest, right? So we can say like that, the tendency of a body, it is the tendency of a body, it is the tendency of a body by virtue of which it opposes or resists, it opposes any change in its state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line, because to change this direction also we need the external agent, that is our force. So it is the tendency, and this tendency is inherent, it is built in the body, it is there in the body because of its mass. So we can say that inertia is the inherent property of a body, and it is directly proportional to the mass of the body. It is directly proportional to the mass of the body. Means if we consider there are two bodies, let us think that one is a massive body, so suppose this is M1, and there is another body M2, and if mass of M1 is greater than M2, let us consider mass M1 is greater than M2, means this is massive, this is a light body, or M1 is a heavy body, M2 is a light body. So if I apply an external agent like your force, if I apply a force like this, and the same force is applied on the body M2, then you will find that if the same force is acting on these two bodies, then we will find that this M2 will move with a greater acceleration, or you can say its velocity will be more, its motion will be more compared to this one, because compared to the massive body. So this inherent property, it has inertia, both has the inertia, and the state is at rest, both are at rest. But because of this different mass, the property, the inertia is different, the quantity of inertia is also different in two bodies. So my point is that if the mass changes, then the inertia of the body also changes. So that is our inertia. Then after knowing this inertia, then we will see this inertia again of three types. So there are three types of inertia, three types. One is inertia of rest. We will discuss one by one. Inertia of rest. First one is the inertia of rest. So what is this inertia of rest? So this inertia of rest, we can state, or we can say that it is that property or inherent property by virtue of which it is that inherent property of the body by virtue of which it is unable to change its state of rest. So now understand this thing, it is that inherent property of the body by virtue of which, because of this inertia of rest, it is unable to change its state of rest. Means the body is unable to change its state of rest. Means if it is at rest, it will remain at rest. It will remain at a rest. That is the inertia of rest. Let's discuss about an example that, as I already told, that if this is the body is rest on this plane, on this surface, and it is rest, so it will remain at rest. Now it is at rest. Similarly, there are other examples like when a passenger sitting in a bus and the bus suddenly starts moving, or the body or the bus suddenly starts its motion, then the passenger feels a sudden jerk in backward. So he feel, or the motion of the passenger will be backward in opposite direction of the motion of the bus. Why that happens? Because of this inertia of rest. How we will explain this one? Now, when the passenger is inside the bus and the passenger whole system or the two bodies are at rest. So they are rest means the inherent property on these two are the inertia of rest. Now when the bus suddenly starts its motion, so when the bus suddenly starts its motion, then the passenger who is there inside the bus or sitting inside the bus, the lower portion of the passenger, which is in contact with the bus, that is in motion, but the upper part is at rest, because it has the inherent property. The whole system was at rest initially when both the bus and the passenger are at rest. But when the bus starts, the lower portion of the passenger is in motion along the direction of motion of the bus, but the upper part of the passenger, that is in its state of rest. So because of that, we feel the lower portion comes in the direction of motion of the bus and the upper part is at rest. So we will feel a sudden backward jerk, right? That is your inertia of rest. So there are other examples like here in this inertia of rest. We can say another example is like that when a bullet is fired into a tightly, or we can say on a glass, then the bullet makes a small hole and pass through the glass. But the same case on that glass, if I throw a stone, then the stone will make or break the whole glass, but it will not pass by making a small hole. It is because the glass at rest and the molecules inside the glass, they are all at rest. When the bullet suddenly fired, so the bullet motion suddenly fire means it suddenly hit the target on the glass. Where it hits, the molecules in that region, they are in motion with the bullet, but the other parts of the glass, other molecules of the glass, they are at rest. There is no time interval to communicate the motion of the particles which are in contact with the bullet when it hit the target. But at the same time, when a stone is thrown, so when the stone is thrown to this glass, so once it is thrown means the molecule which hit by the stone, this molecule communicate that yes, I am in motion, so you should also in motion, because they are in a contact. So this body will also in a motion. So all the molecules will be in a motion. Okay. So that is the another example of inertia of rest. So another example we can say also that when we give a sudden jerk to the blankets. So if think that this is the duster what is used to clean the board. So it has the dust particles are there. The dust particles are there in this body. So it is at rest. The whole system is at rest. The duster, the particles which are associated or in contact with this, all are at rest. If I give a sudden jerk like this, so if I give a sudden jerk, then I will find the dust particles like this, the dust particles, right? So these are the dust particles are around this. So they flies up, means what happens here? in this case, when I give a sudden jerk to the blanket is in motion, but the particles inside this or the pores of this, they are at inertia of rest. They are at the inertia of rest. So this is in motion, but they are in the inertia of rest, and this is the inherent property. It will not changes the state of rest. So that is one called as the inertia of rest. Similarly, the another one is the inertia of motion. The second one is the inertia of motion. So what is this inertia of motion? Again we will define like this. It is the inherent property. It is that inherent property of the body by virtue of which a body in a state of uniform motion tends or to be in the same uniform motion. So if I define this or if I write this, it is the inherent property of the body it is the inherent property of the body by virtue of which it unable to change its state of motion in a particular direction or in a state of motion in a straight line. So in this way means because of this one the body is in motion, means it tends to be in motion and is unable to change the state of motion, and that inherent property is called as the inertia of motion. That is the inertia of motion. So the body is in uniform motion, it tends to maintain its uniform motion. And similarly, in our day-to-day life, we come across different examples of this inertia of motion. So one of the example, the same boss example I will cite here. The same example is that when you are in the bus, you are sitting in the bus and the bus suddenly stops, then you will find a forward jerk. Like this. How? Now you see, when the passenger is inside the bus or you are inside the bus and the bus is in motion in a particular direction. So when the bus is in motion in a particular direction, so along with the bus, you are inside the bus and you are in the inertia of motion. When the bus is at rest, you are inside the bus and you are in the state of inertia of rest. But here the bus is in motion, so the passenger along with the bus is in inertia of motion. So in that concept, when the bus suddenly stops, but your property is what? You are inside the bus and you are in the inertia of motion, but the bus stops because of applying the brakes, an external force is applied, so that external force makes the bus stops, but no force is acts on you, and according to, again you can apply here the Newton's first law, that no force is applied means the state cannot be changed, so no direct force is applied on you accordingly. But here we are about the inertia of motion. So in that concept, when you are inside the bus and the bus is suddenly stops means you are in the inertia of motion. So bus stops means the lower portion which is in contact with the bus, that comes to rest. Along with the bus. But the upper part which is in motion, so it is in motion. So you will feel like this. So this part will go and this will at a rest. Okay. So you will find a forward jerk. Okay. Similarly, another example we can cite here that an athlete runs for some distance before taking a long jump. So before we take a long jump, then before we taking the long jump, we run for a certain distance, then we jump. Why? Because to get that inertia of motion, by that inertia of motion, I will make or the athlete can make a long jump. We can make a long jump, or he can cover a long distance by jumping. Okay. So if it is at rest and if he jumps, then it is in the inertia of rest, then the distance covered will be less, right? So this is the inertia of motion. So there are other examples like a body thrown upward, in a moving train, continues to be or continue to move with the train. That is also the example of your inertia of motion. Then the last one is the inertia of direction. That is the third inertia type, third types of inertia, that is the inertia of direction. So what is this inertia of direction? So it is the inherent property by virtue of which a body tends to maintain its direction. A body tends to maintain its direction, or is unable to change the direction of the body. So it is the inherent property, it is the inherent property of the body it is the inherent property of the body by virtue of which it enables to change its direction. So if in a particular direction, if the body is in motion in a particular direction, so it will remain on that direction, it will never change its direction. That is the inertia of direction. The best example is the mud guards. Mud guards are provided in your bicycles or in your motorcycles. Mud guards are provided. Why? Because the mud along with the wheel, they move like this, right? According to the circular path, or in the rotation, they are with the wheel of the cycle and they are in a motion in a particular direction. But what happens, the direction of this modes along with the wheel, so suppose this is the wheel, on this wheel these are the mud particles and they are in a motion in a particular direction. So the wheel is moving like this, in this direction the wheel is rotating, right? Suppose this is the clockwise direction, the wheel is rotating and the modes are with the tires, or the modes are with the tires of the bicycle. Then when it moves like this in clockwise direction, so what is the direction of the mode particle here, if I ask you? So it is in a circular motion, you can say it is in a circular particle motion. So suppose this is the particle, it is the direction of motion of the particle. Here also, what is the direction of the particle in this part? It is tangential, always tangential. So what is the direction of motion of the particle here? It is tangential, because the body is rotating like this. What is the direction of motion of the mode particle here? It is tangential like this. So what is the motion of the particles here? It is always tangential, right? So because of that, when the wheel comes, the mode particle comes here and you are sitting over here on your bicycle. So the mode particle will go and hit on you. So that, to prevent that, a mode guard is provided above the wheel. The mode guard is provided over the wheel, so that the mode cannot reach to you. Similarly, another example is that you take a stone and the stone, tie the stone with a rope, right? Like this, you take a string and tie a stone at one end. At one end, you tie a stone, right? Then, if I rotate that, one end of this string fixed at one end, and the other end, if I rotate like this, then in this rotation, if I rotate like this, At any time, if it breaks, then what happens to the stone? The stone will fly off tangentially because it's the direction of motion of that. You are finding that if the stone is here, then the stone is here means if I rotating like this, means it is not in this direction. So the particle here, when the stone is rotating like this, at this point, what is the direction of this particle? Its direction is, what is the direction of motion? It is always tangential to the path. So when it breaks here, it will go tangentially. So that flies off tangentially. So that's why that property is the inertia of direction. So this gives us the concept of the inertia of direction. Okay, students. So these are the examples, and you will come across with so many examples like that in our due course of time, and in our day-to-day life we are coming across these examples. So in this section, so far we have discussed about the concept of force, and we will read about the force more detail in further. When I will discuss the Newton's second law, there I will again think about this force. We will decide about this force, and we will define this force in other way. And next we will discuss about the Newton's first law, and from that how we will define this inertia from Newton's first law, and how force can be defined from Newton's first law. Okay. Then after that we have discussed about the three types of inertia with some few examples, and you go through books and you will get a number of examples like this, and maybe questions may be asked based on these reasoning questions on this inertia. Why the mud guards are provided in the bicycle? Because to break to make the inertia of direction of the modes along with the wheel, to break that or to oppose that, the mud guards are provided in the bicycle. You have to write like this. Okay, students. So the main concept here, remember one thing, when I have discussed about the Newton's first law, the Newton's first law is applicable only in inertial frame of reference. Means the frame of reference means the observer. Already you know about the frame of reference. Again I am repeating the thing. The observer who observes that motion or rest, everything, or the state of the body, who observes, he should be in uniform motion or at rest. Means there is no acceleration of the observer. Then on that case you can say that yes, the body is at rest, or state of rest, or state of motion, or state of direction. That is the very, very important thing about the Newton's laws of motion. And what is that inertia? Inertia is the inherent property, and this is a Latin word that is from idealness. The inertia is idealness. Idealness means it is not comfortable, or it is not in a position to change the state of a body. That is the inertia that we have discussed. Okay, students, go through all this video and get the concept or idea from this video. Thank you, students.